I was the kind of employee every company dreams of and never rewards.
Clocked in early. Skipped breaks.
Stayed late. Smiled through impossible deadlines and urgent weekend emails. I even covered for my manager when he left halfway through the day to golf with executives because, in his words, "You're reliable, man." Reliable. That word stuck to me like glue. At first, I wore it like a badge. Later, it felt like a leash. I worked at Westbridge Consulting for 5 years. Mid-sized, overglorified, drowning in bureaucracy, but pretending to be innovative. Our office looked like a startup threw up in a law firm, bean bags next to mahogany desks. It was all optics. The grind never stopped, and neither did I. When I got hired, I was just happy to have a job. I didn't negotiate my salary. I was too afraid to lose the offer. First mistake. Second mistake? I never asked for a raise. Not once. Because I believed what they told me. Keep doing what you're doing, and the right people will notice. The right people noticed, all right. They noticed I didn't complain. That I could juggle 3 roles for the price of 1. That I'd train new hires without asking for a title bump. That I'd clean up their messes with a no-worries grin and still meet KPIs. And so I became invisible. It wasn't until the 5th year that I finally said no. Just one word.
No.
I was supposed to cover another department's project again, while still managing my own team's deadline, 2 sick colleagues, and a system migration no one else understood. I emailed back. Apologies, but I won't be able to take on additional scope this week. My team is already stretched, and I need to prioritize existing deliverables.
Polite. Firm.
Professional. I read it 3 times before hitting send. It took more courage than quitting would have. 24 hours later, I got a calendar invite. Performance review with Jenna, HR, and Steve, director. I knew that wasn't a review. That was a warning shot.
But what I didn't know then.
They were about to do something worse than fire me. They were about to demote me. And they thought I'd take it quietly. What they didn't know was that I'd been preparing for this moment for years. I wore my best shirt that day. You know the one, I'm totally not sweating bullets, but I might be interviewing after this shirt. Navy blue. Clean lines. Subtle checkered pattern.
No tie.
Just enough polish to look like I gave a damn. Steve, my director, walked into the glass conference room exactly 4 minutes late, coffee in hand, smiling like this was just another performance pat on the back. Jenna from HR followed, eyes glued to her iPad, lips already tight. "Hey, buddy," Steve said.
Buddy.
That fake familiar corporate poison. I didn't answer. I just nodded. "Let's jump in," Jenna said, motioning for us to sit. "We've reviewed your scope, contribution metrics, and departmental feedback, and, well, there's been concern about role fitment." I blinked. "Role what?" "Fitment," she repeated, like I was the broken puzzle piece. "Your productivity remains consistent, but adaptability and team synergy have been flagged." Steve chimed in. "Yeah, it's not about your work ethic. You've been solid, truly. It's more flexibility. We need people who can pivot." "You mean say yes to more unpaid labor?" They both paused. Steve let out a breathy chuckle. "No one's saying that." I leaned forward. "You are. Just not out loud." There it was. I said it. I watched Jenna's screen light up as she typed notes furiously. Probably writing, emotional, or agitated. Corporate HR lingo for "he's pushing back and we hate it." She clicked something, and a new PDF appeared on the screen between us. "We're proposing a lateral realignment," she said. "Same pay, but a support analyst role. Less pressure. Less authority," I corrected. "Different responsibilities," Steve said. "You'll still be valuable." This was their idea of mercy. Strip me of my team, demote me without cutting my salary, and frame it like a mental health favor. And the worst part? Legally, they could do it. No warning. No just cause. They called it a realignment. I sat back in my chair, folded my hands, and stared at both of them for a long, still moment. Then I smiled. "Sure," I said, "if that's what you think is best." Because I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to beg. I had a better idea. You know that phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket?
Yeah.
I didn't just hear it, I built a second damn basket. My backup plan wasn't born out of bitterness. It was born out of reality. Somewhere between year 2 and year 3 at Westbridge, I started realizing how fragile my position was. I was praised, yes, but I wasn't valued. So while I was working overtime, I was also taking night classes in product management. On weekends, I was building small automations for local startups. Quiet contracts, nothing fancy. $300 here, $500 there. But I wasn't in it for the money. I was collecting use cases, experience, and most importantly, freedom. By year 4, I had clients in 5 time zones and a modest network of tech founders who trusted me. Some even asked when I'd go full-time on my own. I wasn't ready then.
But now?
After that gutless realignment, now I was ready. I didn't quit immediately. That's not how you play chess. I accepted the demotion with a smile. I trained the new lead they gave my old team. Poor guy didn't know the systems half as well as I did. I stayed quiet, under the radar, a team player. But behind the scenes, I moved fast, filed my LLC, built a clean, 2-page landing site with testimonials from the startups I helped, created a deck that outlined my most successful process improvements. I called it Streamform. And then, I did the most corporate rebellious thing I've ever done. I reached out to Westbridge's own clients. Not to poach. Not directly. But I liked their posts on LinkedIn.
Sent them invites.
Commented on their product launches. Built curiosity first. Then I waited. And just like clockwork, a message landed in my inbox. Hey, aren't you with Westbridge? We're having some delivery delays on the new suite rollout. And just like that, I saw the opening. The message was from Mallory Chen, VP of Ops at Kintera Labs, one of Westbridge's oldest clients. I remembered her immediately, sharp, no nonsense, always 2 steps ahead. She'd been part of a rollout I led 2 years ago that came in under budget and ahead of schedule. She even sent a handwritten thank you note afterward. And now here she was in my DMs. Hey, aren't you with Westbridge? We're having some delivery delays on the new suite rollout. I waited 5 minutes before responding. Just enough to not look desperate. Hey Mallory, I'm technically still with them, but I've moved into more of a background role. Sorry to hear about the delays.
What's going on?
We exchanged a few pleasantries before she opened up. Apparently, the team Westbridge assigned to her project was disorganized. The lead was green. Communication was erratic. She asked if I knew anyone on the side who could offer some PM support to help get things moving. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I sent her a link to my new site. Just a soft lob over the net. I've been doing some independent consulting lately. Not sure if it's what you're looking for, but here's my info. 3 hours later, I got a response. Let's talk tomorrow. This might be perfect. And that was the sound of the first domino tipping. That night, I barely slept. Not from anxiety, from electric energy. My brain was on fire. All the years I'd swallowed mistreatment, smiled through gaslighting, eaten burnt office pizza while pulling double shifts, it was all fueling me now. Because here's the thing. When the door opens a crack, don't just knock. Kick it open with a portfolio and a damn invoice. The next day, I hopped on Zoom with Mallory. Gave her the streamlined, professional version of the truth. I'm not trying to step on toes, Mallory. But I know your systems, I know your workflows, and I'm not bogged down by Westbridge red tape anymore. She leaned back, arms crossed, nodding. I don't need another contractor. I need someone who gets it. And that's when I knew. She wasn't hiring a vendor. She was giving me a chance to build trust again from the outside. By day, I was still playing the obedient support analyst, low-level tasks, fixing bugs no one else wanted, documenting outdated systems for a team that barely acknowledged my name anymore. By night, I was laying bricks. With Mallory's green light, I signed my first formal client contract under Streamform. It wasn't huge, just a short-term project to audit the broken rollout and suggest improvements, but it paid better than my monthly Westbridge salary. And more importantly, it gave me proof. Case study fuel. Something tangible I could show the next person who asked. So, what exactly do you do? The next 30 days were a blur. I'd come home, toss my laptop bag on the floor, and swap out my corporate machine for my personal one. I lived on caffeine, Trello boards, and after-hours Zooms. I built templates, automation frameworks, and pitched my new value prop like I'd been doing it for a decade. And while I was burning through client work, Westbridge, they were burning through credibility. 3 different clients reached out to me through LinkedIn in those 4 weeks, none of whom I'd solicited. Mallory must have whispered something, or maybe they'd just remembered who actually used to get things done. Every time they came to me, I gave the same line. I'm not here to compete with Westbridge, just offering support where I can. But behind that humble line, I was taking notes on their pain points, their frustrations, and most deliciously, on who had ghosted me when I got demoted. The tipping point came on a Thursday afternoon. Steve, the director who'd smiled through my demotion, walked by my desk and patted my shoulder like we were war buddies. Appreciate you keeping things stable, man. We've had some noise from clients, but it's just a phase. Noise? One of those clients was on a Zoom with me the night before, asking if I'd help them transition away from Westbridge entirely. I gave them a neutral answer, but I sent the contract the next morning. When I sent that first full-on transition contract, I felt something settle in my chest. It wasn't adrenaline. It was clarity. This wasn't about revenge anymore, not entirely. This was about liberation. The client, Elysian Metrics, had been fed up with Westbridge for months. Missed deadlines. Overpriced consultation hours, with no real output. They were dying for something leaner, faster, more human. And I had everything they needed. Familiarity with their tools. A history with their leadership. And a roadmap I'd sketched out in a single night after remembering all the mistakes Westbridge made on their last upgrade. When they signed on with Streamform, it wasn't hostile. No threats. No shade. No drama. Just a clean handoff that never went back. What followed wasn't loud. It was precise. One by one, Westbridge's mid-tier clients started messaging me with, "Hey, quick question," or "Are you still doing freelance?" They weren't looking for a full breakup. They were looking for someone they trusted to fix things quietly. And I gave them that. I made the transitions so smooth, Westbridge didn't even know they were bleeding. Meanwhile, in the office, Steve and Jenna were still smiling. They were too busy trying to wrangle junior hires, and salvage was left of their overworked teams to notice the slow leak. I started seeing LinkedIn posts from former colleagues, excited to announce I'm starting a new chapter, grateful for my time at Westbridge, but I'm moving on. Every time someone left, I got a DM asking if I was hiring. I wasn't. Not yet. But I kept their names. Because I had plans. It started with an emergency all-hands meeting. Subject line: Monday morning alignment. Mandatory attendance. Translation: someone pulled the alarm, and now they're scrambling for a hose. I showed up like always. Same smile. Same coffee. Same fake notebook in my lap, pretending to take notes. Steve was already in the room, pacing. Jenna stood off to the side, arms crossed, eyes narrowed like she smelled a gas leak, but couldn't locate it. When the meeting started, Steve didn't even do his usual fist-bumping pep talk. "Let's get right to it," he said, jaw tight. "We've had 3 major client escalations in the last 10 days. Elysian, Kintera, Synthwave Analytics. All of them are either freezing projects or moving away from us entirely." He didn't say my name, but he looked directly at me. I blinked. Sipped my coffee. Didn't flinch. Jenna added, "We're conducting a full review of our external relationships and employee communications. Starting today, all outgoing correspondence will require senior manager approval." That one got murmurs. You could practically hear the morale flatline. A hand went up in the back. Ben from marketing, one of the last decent folks left. "Wait. Are we being investigated?" Jenna deflected like a pro. "It's just a standard accountability audit. Nothing to be concerned about." That's when I knew. They were scared. They just didn't know where the leak was coming from yet. And I wasn't about to tell them. The next morning, I came in early and found my internal access had changed. Several shared folders were now locked. Slack channels I used to lead? Archived. They didn't confront me outright, but they were trying to box me in, slowly and quietly, like rats patching holes after the cat escapes. Too late. I had already built a bigger playground outside. The message came from someone I hadn't spoken to in 2 years. Jules Vernon, former VP of Product at Westbridge. Smart. Strategic. Way too good for that place, which is probably why she got pushed out during the last organizational reset. Her email was short. Saw what you're doing with Streamform. I've got something brewing. Call me. I didn't hesitate. We jumped on a call that night, long after my last freelance Zoom had ended and my apartment had sunk into that peaceful post-midnight stillness. Her voice hadn't changed. Still sharp. Still steady. I've been working with a fintech startup, she said. We just landed Series A. I'm hiring a head of ops who can build scalable systems and lead delivery across our key clients. I need someone who already understands broken pipelines and can fix them before they break. I didn't even ask what the salary was.
She said it anyway.
It was double what Westbridge was paying me before the demotion. Then she added, casually, "You be building your own team. Full autonomy. Remote first. Bonus structures aggressive. I want people who've been underestimated and know how to scale without excuses." I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling, phone pressed to my ear. And you know what I said? Let me finish a few things first. But yeah, Jules, I'm in. Because revenge isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet power. It's being hunted in one room and offered the keys to a kingdom in another. And me? I was about to walk out of Westbridge on my own terms. But not before one final move. 2 weeks after Jules made the offer, I scheduled a 9 a.m. meeting with Steve and Jenna. Subject line: Project debrief plus forecast discussion. Totally innocuous. Corporate speak for nothing to worry about. They walked in with coffees and smirks, still trying to pretend they had a grip on things. Steve even patted my back. Mistake number 1.
We sat down.
I let the silence stretch just long enough for Steve to fidget and Jenna to glance at her screen. Then I pulled out a single sheet of paper. No envelope. No laptop. Just a printed, signed resignation letter. Effective 2 weeks from today, I said, sliding it across the table. I'll be leaving Westbridge. The temperature dropped. Steve blinked twice.
What? Wait.
You're resigning? Jenna was already scanning the paper, her lips pressing into a hard line. We didn't approve any PTO or job transition. Have you accepted another offer? I gave her a look I'd been practicing in the mirror for weeks.
No, Jenna.
I built one. She blinked. Steve leaned forward. If this is about the demotion, we can revisit.
It's not, I said.
It's about value. And I've already found mine elsewhere. I stood up, buttoned my jacket, and smiled. Oh, and you might want to check your client list. 3 of them signed contracts with me last month. Full compliance. No poaching. They came to me. Steve's face went pale. Jenna looked like she wanted to launch a legal war on the spot. But I was already walking out. Thank you both, I said over my shoulder, for showing me exactly what kind of company I never want to build. And that was how I walked out the same door they tried to shrink me through, taller than I'd ever been. I left Westbridge on a Wednesday. No farewell cake. No Slack thread. No "we'll miss you" email blast. Just the quiet hiss of my badge deactivating as I walked through the glass doors for the last time, and the subtle, stunning weightlessness of freedom settling across my shoulders. For the first time in years, I wasn't tied to anyone else's vision. Streamform took off faster than I anticipated. Those early clients, they started referring me like wildfire. Not because I was flashy or had the biggest team, but because I got it. I delivered. I showed up when they called. I didn't have to clear 10 layers of red tape just to fix a broken workflow. By month 4, I was turning down work. By month 6, I had hired 2 people. By month 8, I signed a quarterly retainer deal that covered my entire previous year's salary, and then some. And through all of it, I never posted a single revenge post on LinkedIn. No victory laps. No humble brags. No subtweets. Just quiet wins. Compound momentum.
And peace.
Steve messaged me once. Heard you're doing well. No hard feelings, I hope. I didn't respond. Some things don't need closure. Some people never deserved the explanation.
Jules and I still talk twice a week.
Streamform and her company now partner on cross-client infrastructure audits. She even asked if I'd consider a joint venture down the line. I told her, maybe. But for now, I'm good where I am. Because revenge? It's not the fire. It's what you build from the ashes. And if you're still here reading this, take this with you. Never wait for a system to recognize your worth. Build something that never requires their permission in the first place. There's a reason stories like mine rarely get told in boardrooms. Because the systems we work under, they're built on quiet compliance. Grind hard. Don't complain. Be grateful you're still here. And the moment you stop saying yes without question, you're branded as difficult, uncooperative, not a team player. But here's what they won't tell you. The most powerful word in your vocabulary is no. I said no to unpaid overtime. I said no to being passed over, talked down to, and boxed in. And when they tried to make me feel small for doing so, I didn't fight. I built. Not a louder argument. Not a bigger ego. A better option. And that's the final lesson. Revenge isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Quietly, methodically, and without needing their applause. They still don't know the full story. They think I just moved on. They think I was a fluke. A lucky escape. But if they're reading this, let me clarify. I wasn't lucky. I was ready. And you could be too.